this is back in basically 1939. Of course, there's a difference in age here. I'm 41 as I sit, and it's a physical impossibility to be X amount of years back in the 40s and still be 40 years of age. That's a different story having to do with actually transplanting the soul into a different body per se, without going through the typical incarnate process that in metaphysics, that's a standard phenomenon occurs.
So you're not in the same vessel you were born in?
That's correct.
Okay.
The original vessel is 1917 in Germany. Al was born in 1918 or 16.
Something like that.
Something, I forget whatever time that was. Yeah, we were volunteered. For reasons.
Was your father in the service?
He was in the Navy for a number of years. Was in and out of the Navy and Coast Guard, auxiliary Coast Guard, and Al has a picture of him which I question. Mostly I question because I don't recall. I'm not saying it's not valid. Just my own recall, I don't have a connection with this picture that he is training the crew of the Eldridge up in Groton, Connecticut, I think it is. Somewhere up in there.
Coast Guard Academy.
Oh, yes?
But that is in with your father's photographs.
Sure. So it could very well be valid, I just don't recall it myself. He's another kind of interesting story in the sense that he was connected almost worldwide for reasons not really known, other than that he grew up in money, and there was money in the family to do sort of as he pleased. Getting back a little bit to the Philadelphia process, some of my information comes through trance, and it's part of the mind which I'm told that will not lie, whatever that means. This is according to psychological and the psychologists and the psychiatrists' form of identification. Under trance, I came up with something or had access to information saying that during this Philadelphia process there were 3 UFOs that I saw in my sighting, in looking up in my esoteric view of things, that were around the area at the time. And one of them was actually pulled in as this whole phenomenon of energy started to move and ended up in what's typical as a vortex pattern, a swirling type of energetic
like a black
cone. Yeah, it could be. Black holes is somewhat a little different, but it's that sense of. And actually got pulled in and ended up in Montauk. And through the number of years it actually did evolve and basically started to appear in its infancy. What did we figure? Early 50s or something like that.
Oh, it was 60s.
Early 50s. Okay, well, between early 50s and early 60s. And then started to materialize. And of course, there's some interest and speculation saying that this is partially why that the base was of interest, and all these buildings were built around it and such, and that through the years it actually came to fruition. And so that's part of Al Felix, who Al co-authored a book with Rod Steiger?
Brad Steiger.
Rod Steiger.
Brad
Steiger, sure. That's one of his considerations, as indeed this whole process of opening this hole in space-time was contrived, and it was E.T. Considered, and this is what they directed the scientists to come up with this drop-dead date of August 12th, 1943, to have this experimentation, and it had to be fired up and done at this particular time. And of course that, some of Preston's work, he has correlated this August 12th runs in a 20-year cycle, a biorhythmic cycle of the Earth, where there is a peaking out of this information, sort of like a resonance. And that goes along, all these bits of information seem to hold together.